Earlier today, the Big Ten announced that the Badgers game at Nebraska on October 10th will start at 2:30 p.m., be televised by ABC. This week, UW opens Big Ten play by hosting Iowa at 11 a.m. at Camp Randall in a game televised by ESPN. Head coach Paul Chryst is here. We'll have some opening comments and take questions.
Well, certainly excited, and I know our players are really excited to start Big Ten play, and what a great way to start it with Iowa coming here, playing at Camp Randall, and ton of respect for Coach Ferentz and what he does and how he's done it at Iowa, and our players. It was kind of interesting, and I liked hearing our older players talking to the younger players after the game about knowing what kind of game you can expect from Iowa and understanding it's going to be a physical game, and I know our kids are excited to play, and I thought that as we finished up the non-conference scheduling, we had a chance to, there's a group of guys that had played in a lot of games. We also knew we were going to have a lot of players that needed to gain experience, and I think we're able to do that, and I think those players have grown, and therefore our team has grown, and I think we've improved in some areas. But also, one of the things I like about this team is they're a group that wants to keep improving, and we need to do that to be the best team we can be. So looking forward to this week.
Jim.
Paul, this is your first chance since you've been here in an actual quote-unquote rivalry game, trophy game. Do you play that up much during the week? Because philosophically, do you believe in making that a big deal?
I first was exposed to it, as a player, but I thought that was one of the best things we did, learning that from Coach Alvarez. And I think when you look at the rivalry games, the trophy games that we have, if you want to win your side, you've got to beat those teams. And therefore, I think they are big. And I think our players, even before that trophy came in, I thought, I know our players always enjoyed, and it was a big deal to play Iowa. So that's where the trophy now means something, and it means that, if you have it in your possession, it means you won. It's a sign of success. I don't think it makes guys necessarily get up for it more or less. I think it's the respect they have of the opponent, and but yeah, we're going to talk about it, and I think it's important. It's one of the neat things I think that here at Wisconsin we have is we do have trophy games, and it's part of the history of this program and tradition, and I want our guys to understand it and embrace it. So we're definitely going to talk about it.
Paul, you've been around this Iowa-Wisconsin rivalry in a number of ways now. Just historically, why do you think these programs are so similar in their styles, and what would you attribute that to?
Well, I think that it's the coaches and types of players that they've had. I think it goes back to when Coach Fry was there. For me, in my recollection. I know before that was, I think it was my dad when he was playing here. That was the one loss they had that kept them from going to the Rose Bowl. But I think that it's interesting when you talk about and people compare, and it's this is the same similar type Iowa team or similar type Wisconsin, and yet they're all so different to me because of the players that play in it each year. And certainly there's, I think, principles and core beliefs within the programs that give them an identity, but each year is also a newness to it, and I think that's what we get to focus on this week. And I said, certainly have a lot of respect for Iowa and their program, and yet this is all about this year, these two teams, and we got to have a great week of preparation so we can play our best Saturday.
Paul, it looks like Dave is trying to get maybe Sitchy and Hayes some time in the rotation, maybe to give Schobert and Beagle a little break here and then. Is Sitchy starting to do some things that stand out on tape on the defensive end?
Yeah, he had the one series I thought the other night. At the end, he had a pass breakup and then did a nice job of redirecting. I think it was a screen pass. Certainly have confidence. You know, Tim Tibusar, our outside linebackers coach, has confidence in Jesse and Sitch, and then TJ played some. So I think we got 5 guys. Clearly Vince and Shobes are the guys that are clear starters and I think are difference makers for us, or can be. But also, I think that's one of the things that, talking about it earlier, that the non-conference gave us, was a chance for guys to get some experience and valuable experience.
Jason.
Coach, Iowa's been really good at stopping the run so far this year. What makes their defensive front so good from what you've seen?
I think they've got very good players, and I think that they understand and know their scheme, and I think the scheme's a good scheme. And so I think anytime you've got a good scheme with good players, makes it a good defense.
Jim.
Paul, offensively, you guys have been really good on 3rd and short and third medium to long, maybe not where you want it. Can you put a finger on some of the problem areas once you get 4 and beyond?
You got to make plays. I think if you go back, Joel and Alex didn't connect on the streak. Alex was open, and Joel thought it was going to be a little bit different spot than where Alex was, and then I thought that we had the other one where ball was a little bit behind Reggie. That was another chance of conversion. We got sacked. I think it comes down to execution, and more than anything, and that's where we got to keep working.
Just to follow, I mean, is part of the issue kind of staying ahead of the chains too? I mean, can you put yourself in better positions with better production on 1st and 2nd down? Is that
you try to?
Yeah.
And doesn't always go that way, but I think you just gotta play the game, and whatever situation you're in, you gotta have a plan for it. Kids have to be confident in the plan, and then I think you gotta go execute it.
Chryst Orr's second on the team in tackles right now. At what point did you know that he could be this effective this early?
Well, Chris certainly, I thought in camp, kind of jumped out, and you knew he's a guy that was ready to get more reps. And I think that's what I love about the game, is you earn your opportunities, and he kept performing, doing things to earn reps. And then, as we all know, a couple weeks ago, he got a chance to play and not be in kind of a rotation basis. And I think, like a lot of players, certainly young ones, they keep improving with plays and being able to play and learning how to prepare. And like I've said about this whole group, is the exciting thing to me is that they're doing some good things, but we can get better. And guys see that. He watches the film, and Dave points it out. You can do this, and when this happens, and now maybe that'll happen again. So now he's been in that situation and can react. So I've loved the way that he's approached it every day. I think he loves the game and loves to play it, and is a smart player and a guy that wants to be good. So he's going to keep working at it. That's where he's enjoyable to be around.
Dennis?
Yeah, Paul, there's 9 teams in the Big Ten that list fullback, as a position, and you had the 31-32 packages on Saturday. Is it hard to find fullbacks these days with high schools going to spread offenses? What's that? It's a big part of the Big Ten.
Yeah, I think that I don't think when you're looking for fullbacks, you're necessarily looking at the high school tape of who's playing fullback. Derek Watt was a really good high school running back, and you look back at different fullbacks that you've had. they end up being good football players. And if they're tough, I think Ram came here as a linebacker and then moved over. So I think that they're still out there. There's a lot of guys like that. But I think you have to look at different positions. I think that's recruiting a lot of it now. A lot of your best players are going to be a quarterback, but they're not necessarily going to be a quarterback at the next level. So you just keep looking at it and seeing, quarterbacks that have played corner, quarterbacks that have played linebacker, quarterbacks that play tailback, quarterbacks that play receiver. So I think fullbacks like that. You just keep looking for the guys that fit the job description and guys that like football, and I think the fullbacks find you as much as you find them.
Paul, what can you tell us about Iowa's offense and specifically their quarterback, C.J. Beathard?
Yeah, I thought that he's been playing really well, and actually last year was in a game where he came in and I think he made the difference in it. And he comes from a football family, and I think that like a lot of players, now he knows it's his team, his turn, and I think he's playing confident. Looks like he's playing confident. He's certainly very talented, and I think he's a, I don't want to say a big part because I think they got a lot of parts that are working for him, but certainly a big contributor in their success to this point.
Paul, I know we've focused when talking about the offensive line on the 3 new starters, but what have the veterans, Mares and Volz, done maybe that we don't even see on game day to kind of help bring the other guys along?
I think that they're trying to. Sometimes it's how you practice. It's how you watch tape. Those are the things that you don't often see, but where older guys kind of guiding the younger ones, and I think there's also a component. You asked it with the offensive line, but I think all the positions you see our older guys putting their arm around a younger guy, and this is what you got to do. That's one thing it's been fun for me to see. I always remembered it when I was here before, but now coming back, and one of the qualities of this team that I like is that older guys will grab a younger guy and try to help them, even if they're at the same position, even if they're competing for the same spot. And that's something that's stood out to me when I was here before, and it has been fun to see now back.
You mentioned with this rivalry, the memory for your father being kept from going to the Rose Bowl because of a lost Iowa. Do you have a most memorable thing that stands out to you in your time when you're assistant coach or player here with this rivalry playing Iowa?
I think they were the one thing that jumps out is there were always big games, and a lot of really good football players playing in those games. And I thought the one that my most recent one, when we were down there, that was a big win. I think our players would have maybe said that was the biggest win of that season because we'd had a big win at home, but that one gave us a chance to kind of be in the hunt, and every game has been you got to go win it, and that's why I like when you play against a team like Iowa, you've got to earn everything you get, and you've got to go win it. They're not going to hand it to you, and it's good football.
Anything else for Coach?
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Paul.